So our objectives for this webinar is to define what innovation means. So during the process of my discussion, we will be able to find out what is innovation in education. And then we will determine the process of planning, implementing, and completing a department's innovation project. Next one, understand the impact of having teachers' creative mind and innovative instinct in building learners' motive to think critically. So we will see the importance and what will be the essential aspect of making innovation projects for the learnings of the students, specifically in mathematics. Okay, so let's move on. So for you and to all of the attendees here, before we start my discussion, I want you to think about this one. You need to have this thought to ponder. Can you list down 5 issues that you think your students are facing or struggling in learning mathematics? So on your own, you think of the 5 issues of the things that your students are facing or struggling with in learning the subject mathematics. Because nowadays, we all know that mathematics is one of the most hated and the most Waterloo subject of the students in elementary, junior high school, and even in college. So think of the things that you think are the struggles of your students. Okay? Okay, I will give you 10 seconds to think about it. Alright? Okay, so let's proceed now to my next slide. So these are the 4 pillars upon which the failure of math education rests, and what to do about them. So these are the things that makes mathematics learning fail. First one is the approach. It is not the content of math education is too abstract and decontextualized. Meaning, the content is the same as from the old times and until the new generation or the millennial times. But I think one of the problems is the approach of the teachers on how to teach the abstract ideas of mathematics, especially in algebra. How can you teach differently that the students will be able to understand the x and y's, the negative and the positive integers, polynomials, and everything? The second one is math education conveys rituals and procedures, but not understanding. Just like memorizing only the multiplication table, but not really understanding the concept of multiplying, which is a repeated addition. So there are many ways or there are many procedures and rituals in mathematics that we need to make our students understand the procedure, not only to master or memorize the steps. We need them to understand fully the process itself. Because once they understand the process, that's where learning takes place. Tama po ba? Kasi hindi lang dapat na alam ng bata what is 1 times 2. Dapat alam ng bata bakit naging 1 times 2. Bakit naging 3 times 5? Paano naging 7 plus 7 is equal to 14? Yung mga ganon. So they don't just need to memorize the answers, but to understand the steps and procedures for them to fully learn the subject. Okay? Metacognitive activity is absent in math education. Metacognitive is thinking beyond thinking. Yung bang you make your students think outside the box. They just don't rely on the books, on the processes, on the procedures, on the steps that we are feeding to them. We should let them think critically, and we need to make them interdependent. We just don't make them dependent on the things that we teach to them. We need them to be fully equipped with the knowledge and understanding of the basic concepts and the abstract concepts of mathematics in order for them to fully learn the essence of mathematics. Ganun po yun. Okay? Social-linguistic obstacles to success in mathematics. That is one aspect also. The social-linguistic obstacles. Because sometimes, there are words that are really hard to understand for our students. That's why linguistic and social-linguistic obstacles should be also addressed. Okay? So those are the 4 pillars in which the failure of math education rests. And what do we do about them? So we will find out now on what do we do about them. Math demands creativity, collaboration, and discussion more than memorization, drills, and just hurrying to get the right answers. Isn't that correct? Tama po ba yun? We just don't need our students to memorize. We just don't need our students to master the multiplication table, master the different special products, but we need them to understand the concept behind them. So how do we let them understand the different concepts of mathematics? So we should be creative. We let them collaborate with each other. And we need to discuss properly to our students on how to understand more the subject. Kasi mas ganun matututo ang bata. So how do we make ourselves creative? How do we make ourselves to be more collaborative to our students? And how are we able to discuss the subject itself to our students? Of course, we need to have innovations. And that will be the topics that I will be discussing to you. Okay? Understand po? Okay, thank you. Next. So what is now innovation? What is innovation? And why do we need to have innovations? Is it necessary to make our students learn the subject? So let's find out. Innovation is thinking what others haven't thought about and doing others haven't done. Okay? Ang innovation po is the things that others haven't think about. Yung bang mga bagay na hindi pa naiisip ng iba at hindi pa nagagawa ng iba. So when we say innovations, these are the new ideas. Kaya nga we say innovate, to come up with new ideas. And that is innovation. Okay? Hindi lang yung, ito ginawa ng iba, ito ang gagawin ko, and that is innovation. No, that is not innovation. Innovation is having new ideas that will make our students learn the subject. Not just in mathematics, but even in other subjects. Okay? So how do we innovate? So for innovation to happen, for ideas to come to life, there needs to be a dramatic shift in our mindset. It's not only, ganito ko tinuro to, ganito ko natuturo hanggang tumanda ako, hanggang sa mag-retire ako. No, we need to be flexible, we need to be adaptive, we need to be innovative, we need to be creative, and of course, we need to have the ideas, not just ideas, but we need to make them real. We make the reality. We make them a reality in order for us to have an innovation. Okay? Innovation is 1% idea plus 99% execution. Okay? You should have, yes, 1% is the idea on your mind on how you will innovate, on how you will have different ways to teach, different ways to explore, different ways to show your instructional materials, different ways in strategizing your techniques, your approaches, your pedagogies. But it is 99% execution. You need to make your innovation a reality. You need to execute it. You need to put efforts in it. It is about action. It is creating what you cannot see. Okay? It is about connection. Connecting to your students in order for them to fully understand what you are teaching to them. It is about connecting people and ideas. It is about deviation. You deviate from the old methods, you deviate from the traditional methods that you think are not adaptive to the times of our students. We need to deviate from the things na alam natin na hindi na effective para sa mga bata. We need to forge new combinations because there are things in the past that are still effective. And there are things in the present that are now effective. And we can forge them to make new combinations for our learners to understand fully mathematics subject. And also, it is about looking at your learners and seeing things from their viewpoint, not your own. Because the one that we want to learn are our students. Secondary na lang yung ourselves, diba? Because there's a saying that to teach is to learn twice. But first, we need to make our students learn. That is one of our purposes as a teacher. We need to make our students learn. And in order for them to learn, we need to come up with innovations that not just make ourselves comfortable on how we teach, but on how to make them comfortable in learning the subject. That's why we need to see the things from their viewpoint. Dapat makita natin kung paano ba nila gustong tirahin ang mathematics. Kung paano nila gustong i-approach ang kanilang learning in mathematics. So, ganun po ang kailangan natin gawin. And those are the things that we need to understand and to keep in mind when we innovate our strategies, our materials, our approaches, our pedagogies in teaching the subject. Okay? Next one. So, what should be done to have a successful innovation? So, there are ways to make a successful innovation. Number one, innovation starts at the top. Leaders need to create the vision and live the values. So, sino ba ang leader ng teaching and learning process? Of course, it is us, the teachers. So, we need to have a creative mind that would target our vision. And what is our vision? That is to make our students be independent in learning the subject. We should be targeting that the teachers will be just the guide on the side. Okay? We need to make our students the star of the stage. Okay po? Kailangan maging creative tayo kung paano ba natin gagawin na yung mga bata na talaga or yung mga students na natin ang matututo independently na na hindi na natin kailangang i-spoon feed ang bawat lessons, ang bawat procedures, that we need to make them think critically. We need to make them independent. We need to make them critical thinkers. We need to develop their HATs, their higher order thinking skills. Okay po? And of course, in order for that to happen to our students, we should be the first one, okay, to be HATs, to be critical thinkers. Okay po? Second one, innovation can happen anywhere, and anyone can do it, but not everyone is good at it. Kaya nga po, we have this webinar because, yes, everybody can do innovations, but not everyone can do a very good innovation. Okay? So an innovation can happen every time, anywhere, actually, if we really think about it. But it needs planning, strategizing properly on how to implement our innovations. We should look at the viewpoints of our students. Tingnan natin yung mga available resources on how we can contextualize our innovations. Okay po? Innovations cannot grow unless you share it with others. Collaborate. That's why you are here with others, with other participants. It's because you want to learn from also from them, not just from me, but from the other participants. We need to have a collaboration of ideas in order to come up with a better and best innovations that can help our learners to learn more. Small ideas need room and time to grow. We need to see that we make progress. Don't be afraid to fail. Okay po? Do not be afraid of failures. Because failures will be our stepping stones to our success. Failures will be the stepping stones to the progress of our innovations. Because without failures, it means that you don't try. You're not trying to make innovative ideas. Okay? You will always remember, big things comes from small packages. Bravery relies on trust. Embrace risk, learn from failure. Tulad nga po nung sabi ko kanina, failure are the stepping stones to success. And when you make your failures your stepping stones, you will learn from them. Just because it works for others does not mean it will work for you. Create an innovation culture that fits. Yan. We need to contextualize. Okay? We need to see the ideas of our students, the genre of our students, on how they learn, on how they need to be taught, on what will make them interested in our subject. Because there are innovations that are effective to some students, and there are some innovations that are not effective to the students. That's why we need to see the individuality, the multiple intelligences of our students. Next, you can change the world by doing just 3 things. You copy, transform, and combine. You copy the good things that you see. You copy the good ideas, the good innovative and effective ideas. You transform the things that you need to be transformed, to be improved, and you combine the things that you copied and that you transformed in order to come up with the better and best innovative ideas, with the best innovative proposal projects that will make our students learn. Okay po? So, ganun dapat. So, we should be the transformers, the combinators, and the copiers in order for us to get, to make, to produce the most suited innovation projects for our students in order for them to learn fully and understand fully the subjects that we are teaching to them, especially in mathematics. So, ganun po dapat tayo. Okay? We should always remember those things in order for us to make a successful innovation project. So, what are the things that we should need to innovate? So, those are three things. There are three things that we need to innovate. First one is the instructional strategy, intervention approaches, and the instructional materials. So let's take them one by one. Instructional strategy. It refers to the TPCK, the content knowledge, pedagogical knowledge, pedagogical content knowledge, and the technological pedagogical content knowledge. So what are these four knowledges that we are referring to? So when we say instructional strategies, these are the things that we need to understand and to know in order for us to have a good instruction in class. When we say content knowledge, it is the subject matter itself. It is the ideas of mathematics that we are imparting to our students. And then when we say pedagogical knowledge, it is the way on how we convey our strategies to our students. It is the approaches, the techniques on how we teach our students. And what about pedagogical content knowledge? It is the combination. It is the combination of the approaches in a specific content, in a specific topic. Because there are strategies that are suited for a specific content or specific subject matter. Di po ba? Those are two things. And what about technological, pedagogical content knowledge? Yan. So, this is where we innovate, di ba? Ito na yung lalo na ngayon that our students are millennials now. It is the use of technology, technology-based education. So, we need to find the most suited or the most appropriate technology and strategy for a specific subject matter. And that is having the knowledge in teaching mathematics. So we need to innovate. We should be techy now. Okay? Kailangan na po nating maging techy. Dahil yun na ang trend sa mga estudyante. We need to adapt. Okay? Kasi doon din sila natututo. Kaya kailangan makisabay tayo para matuto ang ating mga estudyante. Okay po? Next one. PBL in mathematics. What is PBL in mathematics? That is problem-based learning in mathematics. So what are the problems in PBL mathematics? Many students lack a deep understanding of math concepts, and that is true. Okay? Because they see mathematics as their Waterloo. Basic concepts in mathematics, nahihirapan na sila. So what more are the more abstract? Okay? So medyo nahihirapan sila. Kaya kailangan nating palitan yung ating strategy. or the approaches. PBL is a promising approach not only to build math understanding but also to test students' conceptual knowledge. Yes, PBL or problem-based learning helps our students to test their conceptual knowledge because hindi lang sa mga procedures, sa mga basic concepts sila natututo kapag mayroong problem-based learning. We can help them to have the real-life situations. But teachers find it difficult to develop a real-life hook for students to work through problem solving independently. Diba, there are times that we are being asked by our students, Sir, what will be the use of that? What will be the use of that? Magagamit po ba namin yan kapag bumili kami sa kanto? Kapag bumili kami ng candy? Kapag nanligaw ako? Kapag nagdadrive ako? Magagamit ko ba yan? And that is one of the hardest part in teaching mathematics, especially with the abstract ideas. How can we relate those topics in real-life situations? And that is one way that we can innovate. We think of the things that we can relate to real-life situations with the abstract ideas in mathematics. Okay po. PBL requires teachers to present students with multifaceted real-life problems and act as facilitators. Ayan. So we should make our students be more facilitators. They should be the one to act in order for them to learn. That's why we need them to be independent. Okay? Sila na dapat yung mismong gumagawa ng ways on how to learn. Hindi yung lagi tayong ayan ang dapat nyo matutunan, yan ang matututunan nyo, ganyan kayo matututo. No. We should make our students learn by themselves. Okay po? Next, the flipped classroom. We should make the flipped classroom. Okay? Before, the students prepare to participate in class activities. Diba? Ganyan sila dati. During, students practice applying key concepts with feedback. Then, our goal is to students check their understanding and extend their learning. Ayan. We should make our students independent learners. Okay? We should be the ones to be the guide only. Okay? We should let our students learn on their own phases. Okay? Dapat ganyan tayo. Hindi yung ako ang teacher, sa akin kayo lang matututo. Sa akin nyo lang makukuha lahat ng ideas. No. We should let our students learn on their own. And that is the flipped classroom. Okay po, may tanong po ba? Okay po, wala naman. Okay, so let's proceed now to our next. Intervention approaches. When we say intervention approaches, when we find a problem in the academic performances of the students, so we make interventions in order for us to carry out those students who are lagging behind. So we have two things to intervene or to make intervention approaches: the human resources and the technological resources. So in order for us to make intervention approaches, we need to blend them. Okay? We are not just using ourselves. Yes, teachers are the best instructional materials. Teachers are the best visual aids. But nowadays, we need to have technological advances. And technology alone cannot make our students learn. We still need teachers to guide the students to use technologies in order for them to learn the subject. So how do we do it? As a human being or as the human resources, we need to have and we need to make them And we need to be the motivator, or to make us the motivation, personalization, feedback, fluency, and listening, relevance, and discipline for our students. And of course, the technology will only serve as the mobile, the structure, the tracking and control, self-study, reduce costs, and global reach. And we say technology, it is the integration of technology in teaching mathematics on how it can help the learners learn better. Just like the use of the different mathematical apps like Desmos, Geometry Sketchpad, Bagatrix, Math Studio, Kahoots, and everything. So we need to use them in order for our students to learn in our advanced times, in our computer times. Because we are already in the millennial age, we need to adapt with the changes. We just don't need our students to learn from us, from us teachers. We need them also to learn from other things in order for them to be independent. Okay po? Next, using data to plan effective math remediation. But we have the MPS, we have the summative exams, we have the RAT, the NAT, and etc. So, having those data, we will be able to find an effective remediation approaches, innovations for our students in order for them to understand and to be not left behind. Okay po? So, kailangan nating magkaroon ng mga data, ng mga baseline data in order to come up with an intervention innovation. Because with those baseline data, we'll be able to come up with our intervention. And with that intervention, we can now attack the subject matter in a different way that the students will be able to grasp. Okay po? So, ganun dapat. We need to have the baseline data in order to create and to plan an effective math remediation. And that will be your innovation. Instructional materials. Of course, instructional materials are the things that we use to make our teaching and learning process easier. So how do we innovate in making instructional materials? Nowadays, there are different technological materials that we can use to make the learning in mathematics easier, faster, and more convenient. So there are many things that we can use. We can have instructional materials, intervention materials. We can have different technological tools like the interactive classroom, Google Sheet, Quizizz. We have Desmos, Geometric Sketchpad, okay, the Kahoots. So those are the things that we should be using nowadays. Because with these instructional materials, innovative instructional materials, we can help our students to learn better and easier. Okay? Kasi hindi, example, for the Kahoots, right? Para hindi naman sila nagiging lagi na lang may quiz, lagi na lang. Because Kahoot is an interactive play. It is a quiz, but it will be an interactive and more enjoyable way to have your quiz. Okay? So those are some of the things that we can use. Okay? Ayan po. So this is a reminder. Innovation projects should be breakthroughs, not benchmarks. Okay? We should not only make innovations just for have a benchmark for your school, but it should be the breakthrough in your teaching and learning process, not just for promotion, but for your students, for them to learn better mathematics. Modifications, not adaptations. Okay? We need to modify the old things. We need to make new ideas. We need to modify the old ideas. We don't need to adapt the old ideas. We need to modify them in order for our students to be able to grasp the new ideas and the new approaches in teaching mathematics. Innovations are not just paperworks, they are performances. Because when you make innovation projects, okay, it shows how you perform as a teacher. Okay? You are not just confined inside the classroom, but you think outside the classroom or outside the box in order for you and for your students to have a good rapport in the teaching and learning process of mathematics. Not just for promotion, yan, but for quality education. We all know that innovation projects are one of the requirements in teachers promotion, di ba? But we don't just make them in order for us to be promoted, but because we want to have a quality education for our students. We need to be innovative. We need to have innovative minds because our target is to have a quality education. Okay? The teacher is the greatest innovator. Always remember that. Anyone who stops learning is old, whether at 20 or 80. Anyone who keeps learning stays young. Lagi po nating tandaan yan. Kasi nga, when we always learn, we keep ourselves learning. We stay young because we are able to adapt in the changes of times. Okay po. To teach is to learn twice. Yan, lagi nating tandaan. When we teach our students, we make them learn. When we make innovative projects, we make ourselves more educated, more knowledgeable because we will have new ideas. Teachers should guide without dictating and participate without dominating. Ayan. We should be always, we make ourselves only the guide on the side. We make our students the sage on the stage. Okay? The critical factor is not class size, but rather the nature of the teacher that it affects learning. And learning never ends. Lagi po nating tandaan yan. So what now? So bago po tayo matapos, so these are the things that you need to think about again. Squared. Something that's squared with me. Validated prior knowledge or what? A question that's still circling around in my mind at this point. So what are the things that gumugulo pa po sa inyo or you need to ask to me? And something I learned that could form the base of future actions. I hope, okay, you are motivated to make your own innovation projects now. Because we need to make our students learn. Okay po? We need to come up with our own innovation projects. And by the way, I will have our template in our division. So ipapakita ko po, isisend ko po yung template po ng aming division regarding creating for the innovation proposal. Okay? So I hope you learn in this topic. You learned something from this topic. And I hope to see you around again next time. So again, you cannot discover new oceans unless you have the courage to lose sight of the shore. Yan. It's not about ideas. It's about making ideas happen. And with that po, thank you and God bless us all. Salamat. Okay, so before we move on to our next topic, so this is the format of our division in creating innovation project proposals. So these are the parts in which you fill out the template, and then this will be submitted to the division office for approval for the innovation. And then you can also attach, or if you have the soft copy or hard copy of your innovation, you can attach it in this template when you pass it to your division. So, it depends na lang po kung sa division nyo, meron din kayong sariling template ng innovation proposal template. But for our division, this is the template that we are using. So you have the project description, the background situation analysis, project objectives, desired impact and outcome, risk management, project organization, project work plan, detailed budget requirement, and other relevant information and attachments. So for your assessment for this webinar, you will make your own project proposal innovation project. Okay, so this will be your assessment for my topic. So I hope you learn from me, and God bless us all. Good day, everyone. So our next topic will be about TICA instruction, technology integrated, innovative, creative, knowledge-based, learner-centered, and effective instruction. So for this topic, we will know how to tackle our students in order for them to understand fully the different learning areas. So let's continue. So these are our objectives. For our terminal objective, we will be able to enhance teachers' essential skills in the performance of the KRAs and mandates of the DepEd. And our enabling objective is to design and demonstrate teaching of technology integrated, innovative, creative, knowledge-based, learner-centered, and effective instruction. So I hope that by the end of this session, we'll be able to tickle the minds of our students with our ways in instructing them with our lessons. So let's proceed now. Before we proceed our main topics, I want you to have a priming activity. Wear your thinking hats. So what are you gonna do? Think of an activity or strategy to be used in presenting a given learning competency depending on the nature of the hats to be provided. So I will be providing hats to you. So those are the learning competencies, and you need to think of an activity and strategy to be used in presenting the given competencies. So what will be our criteria? So they should be technology integrated, creative, knowledge-based, learner-centered, and of course, effective. So we need to tackle our instructions for our students. Are you ready? So these are the hats to be provided. So these are the learning competencies. You can choose from these competencies. You can only choose one, and then you make your own strategies. Solves problems involving functions, illustrates the limit laws, calculates the mean and the variance of a discrete random variable, illustrates simple and compound interest, performs operations on radical expressions. So those are the learning competencies that you can choose from to make an instruction that can be tickle to our students. Okay? So next. So these are the hats. You should have motivation, a priming activity, of course the lesson presentation, and the assessment. Okay? In each on your chosen competency. They should have the motivation, priming activity, lesson presentation, and assessment. So on your own, you can do it. Okay? Shall we proceed to the next one? Okay, so this will be your take-home activity. Alright? Next. So these are the thoughts to ponder after you do the activity. So how do you feel about the activity? Do you find the activity difficult to accomplish? Then why? Do you find the activity easy to accomplish? And answer why. Who do we have to wear our thinking hats whenever we decide on such concerns? So, kanino ba natin ginagawa yung mga yon? Okay? So, why are we teaching? Of course, it is for our students to learn. Okay? So, that's your thoughts to ponder after you do the activity. Okay? Next one. So, when do we tackle our teaching and learning instruction? So, what is the best time to tackle our teaching and learning instruction? Okay po. So let's find out on how and when do we tackle our teaching and learning instruction. So let's now have the letters of the word tackle. Technology integration for letter T. Technology, when integrated into the curriculum, revolutionizes the learning process. Of course, we all know that technology integration in education is really helpful to us teachers. Di po ba? Malaking tulong talaga ang technology integration, lalong-lalo na in our classroom discussion. They aid us in making our lessons simpler for our students. Di po ba? Mas napapadali nating ipaliwanag sa mga bata, sa ating mga estudyante, ang ating lesson. Okay? That's why it revolutionizes the learning process. Because nowadays, especially in the millennial age, technology is a must in education. That's why we need to adapt. Okay? We need to cope up with the times of our students. So we need to integrate technology in the learning and teaching process. Okay po? Next. Teachers who recognize computers as problem-solving tools change the way they teach. They move from a behavioral approach to a more constructivist approach. Of course, wala na tayo dun sa types na kailangan wag magka-calculator, kailangan wag gagamit ng computer in solving different problems. No. Today, we use those technologies to aid our students and to aid ourselves also in teaching the lesson. Because nowadays, students need other tools to help them understand the lessons better. Okay po? Because we should not use technology as the sole instructor for our students. We should make technology our aid only. We should not make them the sole instructor for the lesson. Okay po? Dapat tumutulong lamang yung technology. Okay? Tumutulong lamang po yung technology in answering or in making our students understand the lesson. Okay po? Students are engaged in their learning using these powerful tools and can become creators and critics instead of just consumers. Ayan po. Okay? So they can use this technology, okay, to make and create different outputs, different outcomes for our subject. They are not just merely using PowerPoint presentation, calculator, but they are creating something out of these technologies. Because nowadays, we can say that some of our students are more aligned in using technologies, right? Mas alam nila kung paano gamitin ang technology. And we cannot blame because of the computer age that they are now. Okay po? This is a warning. You should always remember that having a beautiful presentation in PowerPoint does not mean that you really integrated technology. Yes, it's true that we should have a presentable and beautiful presentation in PowerPoints. But if you just let the PowerPoint serves as a visual aid for our students, then it is not an integration of technology. Because pinalitan mo lang yung chalkboard, pinalitan mo lang yung Manila paper, pinalitan mo lang yung whiteboard using PowerPoint. The main use of PowerPoint is to integrate technology in a sense that it can help the students learn faster and easier the lesson. Hindi yung parang, ayan lahat ng nakasulat, nasa PowerPoint lahat. No. It should only help us teachers in making our students learn the subject. Okay po? That is one of the warnings. So these are the 4 stages in the integration of technology in learning. Directed, access, mobile, and self-directed. So learners are directed in their use of technology. Of course, the first stage, we should help them and we should direct them on how to use the technology. Access. This stage is characterized by powerful access to information, networks, and communities, but is mostly unable to leverage that access without supporting frameworks or planning. Ayan, they have the access now to the different information, the internet, and etc. Yun na po yung access. Mobile. Mobile technology erodes traditional classroom. Truly, mobile learners should disrupt non-flexible curriculum. Ayan. In integration of technology, we make our curriculum flexible. Okay po? Because we are already in the modern computer age. That's why technology in the teaching and learning process is a must for us teachers. Huwag na tayo dun sa traditional na chalk-talk method, Manila paper method, or everything. We should utilize the technology. We should appreciate the beauty of technology. And by that, we will be self-directed. This is the final stage of technology implementation that necessitates learners to consistently self-direct critical core components of learning experiences, that they will be able to use the technologies in order for them to understand better our lessons. So, ganun po yun. Okay po? So, those are the 4 stages in the integration of technology in the teaching and learning process. So, that is the learning process. Ayan. We have the self-direction, mobile learning, asynchronous learning, and the self-directed learning. So for the self-direction, based on curiosity and play, while supported by personalized learning algorithms and the connectivity of authentic networks, characterizes this final stage of technology integration. Traditional classroom learning is fully disrupted. Ayan. So yun nga, dapat wala na tayo dun sa traditional teaching methods. because we really need to integrate technology nowadays. Ayan po yun. So, yun yung pinakamalaki sa learners are directed, asynchronous, mobile, and self-directed. Okay po? So, that is just the same kung kanina. Next one, letter I, innovation. Ayan. Tulad nga po nung na-discuss ko kanina with our previous lesson, previous topic about innovation proposal. Okay, innovation project proposals. The hows and whys, the whats and hows. Yan, actually. Okay? So, what is innovation? Ayan nga. Sinabi ko nga kanina, a while ago, with our lesson, it is about looking at your learners and seeing things from their viewpoint, not your own. Ayan. Diba? So, we are making innovations for our students, for them to learn. Not just for ourselves to make teaching easier. Okay? We make innovations in order for us to make our students learn faster and easier. Innovation is about creating value by challenging the culture and how we do things naturally. Ayan, di ba? Innovation is making something new. That's why the natural things or the traditional things that we do, okay, pamapalit tayo ng innovation. And because of that, we are being unique is of no value unless it creates value to others. Of course, having only an innovation project proposal does not mean na okay na, pwede na. We should make our innovations in order for us to have an impact for our students. Ayan po ang sole purpose ng innovation. They should have an impact for our students. Kaya nga tayo gumagawa ng innovation para makatulong, para magkaroon ng value. Okay? Next, for innovation to happen, for ideas to come to life, there needs to be a dramatic shift in our mindset. Ayan, of course. Okay? Hindi ka naman makakaisip ng innovation if you don't change your mind, especially your mindset. So we should have a different perspective, a different mindset in order for us to have our innovation projects. Because innovation projects is just 1% idea and of course 99% execution. You should make an action in order to make a connection for your students, and that should deviate in order for you to forge new combinations. Okay po? So that is how we make innovations. Next one, the CK, the creative and knowledge-based instruction. So what is creative and knowledge-based instruction? It is embracing creativity as part of learning. So we should not just stick kung ano yung nasa learning materials, kung ano yung content ng libro, okay? Na ganito lang dapat ang ipagawa, ganito lang dapat ang gawin ng teacher, ganyan lang dapat ang i-present. No. We should be creative enough for our students in order for us to adapt to the changes of times. Because sometimes, yung mga ginagawa natin dati, hindi na applicable today. Di po ba? And merong mga bagay na kailangan nating baguhin and improve in order for our students to fully understand the lesson. Because you cannot just do what you did last summer or kung ano yung talagang ginagawa mo na at nakasanayan. We should be creative. Dapat nagbabago-bago ang ating mga instruction, our strategies, our pedagogies. Okay? Use the most effective strategies because we have different learners. They have these individual differences. That's why we need to take the challenge in creating the most effective strategy in our instruction. Think of creativity as a skill because being creative is a skill. Di po ba? Kasi hindi naman lahat creative. Meron talagang mga teachers na, ay, yun na lang gagawin ko, yun na lang kasi wala na akong maisip, yan na lang. Hindi po dapat ganun. Okay? We should be creative thinkers for our students in order for them to be critical thinkers. That is our goal. Participate in or create a program to develop creative skills. Yan. You can make Slack sessions. You can have webinars. You can have innovation projects. Use emotional connections. Okay? Because when you understand the emotions or the feelings of your students in your lesson, you will be able to create, okay, different strategies and approaches and pedagogies for them. Doon po tayo mag-a-adjust nun in order for us to have a creative and knowledge-based instruction. Okay po? Yes. Okay, next na po tayo. Creative knowledge-based. For students to learn to think creatively, they need to go through a process of meaning-making, which is often fraught with complexities and ambiguities. Ayan. Hindi lang tayo yung dapat maging creative. Of course, we need to make our students creative also. But being creative takes a lot of processes. Okay? They need to have this meaning making with our lessons. Hindi lang yung parang, yes, they absorb, ganyan, ganyan, yes, ganyan. They need to think deeper. They need to go deeper with the lessons, which is often brought by the different complexities and ambiguities of the lesson. Kasi minsan, there are lessons na napaka-abstract and ang hirap i-relate sa real-life situations. So we need to help our students to think creatively in order for them to fully understand the lesson. So ganun dapat ang gawin natin. Okay po? We need to make our students learn to think creatively. We need to open their minds to think deeper, to create something as the Bloom's taxonomy. That is the highest level, di po ba? So that's it. So how can teachers develop their creativity in the classroom? Ayan. So paano po ba natin gagawin yon? Of course, we need to become a knowledgeable teacher. Because if you're not a knowledgeable teacher, then you cannot be creative. Kasi kung hindi mo alam mismo yung lesson mo, hindi mo din alam kung paano mo i-approach para sa mga students mo or i-strategize kung paano mo ipapasok sa mga students mo yung lesson. Connect with other teachers. So, how do you connect with other teachers? You learn from them. You ask for a one-on-one FGD, focus group discussion. You can have Slack. Okay? You can have insets. Become a collector of new ideas. Okay? So, how can we become a collector of new ideas? So, you learn from others nga. Okay? Remove the blocks to creative thinking. Remove all the unnecessary thoughts. Remove all the traditional methods that you think. Okay? You need to think outside the box in order for you to be creative. So that is one of the things that you need to do. You need to remove the blocks to creative thinking. Okay po? So that's it. Okay? So, learner-centered and effective learning. So, for the learner-centered and effective learning, although it may irritate the teacher, one of the most intelligent questions a student can ask is, why do we have to do this? That is said by Robert Sylvester. Yes. Diba? Most of the times, especially the math teachers, they are asked, Sir, bakit pa natin kailangan gawin yan? Hindi na naman namin magagamit yan eh. Kapag ba bumibili kami sa tindahan, sasabihin pa namin, pabili nga po ng x plus y equals 7, x squared minus 7, x plus 7 y is equal to something and etc. Diba? So paano ba yon? So why do we have to do this? Okay? So dyan pumapasok yung pagiging learner-centered natin sa mga estudyante. Kailangan hindi magiging teacher-centered ang discussion. Kailangan maging learner-centered kasi sila talaga ang kailangang matuto. Sila talaga ang kailangang may matutunan. Sila ang kailangang makaintindi ng lesson. Okay po? The rationale for teaching many of the learning skills, behaviors, attitudes, and critical thinking strategies now a part of learner-centered college courses is that our students will need these skills for their careers. Yan. Especially when they are now in college. They need to have these skills, behaviors, and attitudes. They need to think critically because in their careers, we all know that. Okay? You should be creative, you should be effective, you should be innovative in order for you to succeed in your life, in your career. Kailangan na kailangan mo yun. Kailangan na kailangan natin yung mga learning skills, yung mga behaviors, attitudes, and critical thinking strategies. Okay po? Yun ang kailangan natin. And for that, that is now the TICL instruction. Again, TICL instruction is about technology integration, innovation, creative, knowledge-based, learner-centered, and effective learning. Okay po? Lagi po nating tandaan yan. And for that, thank you very much. And let's move on to the next topic. But before that, I want you to first to watch this video. Medyo mahaba po pero it's worth watching for. Okay po? So let's see.
A friend of mine told me recently that her 6-year-old son had come home from school and said he hated math. And this is hard for me to hear because I actually love math. The beauty and power of mathematical thinking have changed my life. But I know that many people lived a very different story. Math can be the best of times or the worst of times. An exhilarating journey of discovery or descent into tedium, frustration, and despair. Mathematical miseducation is so common we can hardly see it. We practically expect math class to be repetition and memorization of disjointed technical facts. And we're not surprised when students aren't motivated, when they leave school disliking math, even committed to avoiding it for the rest of their lives. Without mathematical literacy, their career opportunities shrink. And they become easy prey for credit card companies, payday lenders, the lottery, and anyone really who wants to dazzle them with a statistic. Did you know that if you insert a single statistic into an assertion, people are 92% more likely to accept it without question? Yeah, I totally made that up. And 92% it has weight even though it's completely fabricated. And that's how it works. When we're not comfortable with math, we don't question the authority of numbers. But what's happening with mathematical alienation is only half the story. Right now, we are squandering our chance to touch life after life with the beauty and power of mathematical thinking. I led a workshop on this topic recently, and at the end, a woman raised her hand and said that the experience made her feel, and this is a quote, like a god. That's maybe the best description I've ever heard for what mathematical thinking can feel like. So we should examine what it looks like. A good place to start is with the words of the philosopher and mathematician René Descartes, who famously proclaimed, "I think, therefore I am." But Descartes looked deeper into the nature of thinking. Once he established himself as a thing that thinks, he continued, "What is a thinking thing? It is a thing that doubts, understands, conceives, that affirms and denies, wills and refuses, that imagines also and perceives." This is the kind of thinking we need in every math class every day. So if you are a teacher or a parent or anyone with a stake in education, I offer these 5 principles to invite thinking into the math we do at home and at school. Principle 1, start with a question. The ordinary math class begins with answers and never arrives at a real question. Here are the steps to multiply, you repeat. Here are the steps to divide, you repeat. We've covered the material, we're moving on. What matters in this model is memorizing the steps. There's no room to doubt or imagine or refuse. So there's no real thinking here. What would it look like if we started with a question? For example, here are the numbers from 1 to 20. Now, there's a question lurking in this picture, hiding in plain sight. What's going on with the colors? Now, intuitively, it feels like there's some connection between the numbers and the colors. I mean, maybe it's even possible to extend the coloring to more numbers. At the same time, the meaning of the colors is not clear. It's a real mystery. And so the question feels authentic and compelling. And like so many authentic mathematical questions, this one has an answer that is both beautiful and profoundly satisfying. And of course, I'm not going to tell you what it is. I don't think of myself as a mean person, but I am willing to deny you what you want. Because I know if I rush to an answer, I will have robbed you of the opportunity to learn. Thinking happens only when we have time to struggle. And that is principle 2. It's not uncommon for students to graduate from high school believing that every math problem can be solved in 30 seconds or less. And if they don't know the answer, they're just not a math person. This is a failure of education. We need to teach kids to be tenacious and courageous, to persevere in the face of difficulty. The only way to teach perseverance is to give students time to think and grapple with real problems. I brought this image into a classroom recently, and we took the time to struggle. And the longer we spent, the more the class came alive with thinking. The students made observations, they had questions. Like, why do the numbers in that last column always have orange and blue in them? And does it mean anything that the green spots are always going diagonals? And what's going on with those little white numbers in the red segments? Is it important that those are always odd numbers? Struggling with a genuine question, students deepen their curiosity and their powers of observation. They also develop the ability to take a risk. Some students noticed that every even number has orange in it, and they were willing to stake a claim. Orange must mean even. And then they asked, is that right? This can be a scary place as a teacher. A student comes to you with an original thought. What if you don't know the answer? Well, that is principle 3. You are not the answer key. Teachers, students may ask you questions you don't know how to answer, and this can feel like a threat. But you are not the answer key. Students who are inquisitive is a wonderful thing to have in your classroom, and if you can respond by saying, I don't know, let's find out, math becomes an adventure. And parents, this goes for you too. When you sit down to do math with your children, you don't have to know all the answers. You can ask your child to explain the math to you or try to figure it out together. Teach them that not knowing is not failure. It's the first step to understanding. So, when this group of students ask me if orange means even, I don't have to tell them the answer. I don't even need to know the answer. I can ask one of them to explain to me why she thinks it's true. Or we can throw the idea out to the class. Because they know the answers won't come from me, they need to convince themselves and argue with each other to determine what's true. And so one student says, look, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. I checked all of the even numbers. They all have orange in them. What more do you want? And another student says, well, wait a minute. I see what you're saying, but some of those numbers have 1 orange piece. Some have 2 or 3. Like, look at 48. It's got 4 orange pieces. Are you telling me that 48 is 4 times as even as 46? There must be more to the story. By refusing to be the answer key, you create space for this kind of mathematical conversation and debate. And this draws everyone in, because we love to see people disagree. After all, where else can you see real thinking out loud? Students doubt, affirm, deny, understand. And all you have to do as the teacher is not be the answer key and say yes to their ideas. And that is principle 4. Now, this one is difficult. What if a student comes to you and says 2 + 2 = 12? I mean, you've got to correct them, right? And it's true, we want students to understand certain basic facts and how to use them. But saying yes is not the same thing as saying you're right. You can accept ideas, even wrong ideas, into the debate and say yes to your students' right to participate in the act of thinking mathematically. To have your idea dismissed out of hand is disempowering. To have it accepted, studied, and disproven is a mark of respect. It's also far more convincing to be shown you're wrong by your peers than told you're wrong by the teacher. But allow me to take this a step further. How do you actually know that 2 + 2 doesn't equal 12? What would happen if we said yes to that idea? I don't know. Let's find out. So if 2 + 2 = 12, then 2 + 1 would be 1 less, so that would be 11. And that would mean that 2 + 0, which is just 2, would be 10. But if 2 is 10, then 1 would be 9, and 0 would be 8. And I have to admit, this looks bad. It looks like we broke mathematics. But I actually understand why this can't be true now. Just from thinking about it, if we were on a number line, and if I'm at 0, 8 is 8 steps that way, and there's no way I could take 8 steps and wind up back where I started. Unless, well, what if it wasn't a number line? What if it was a number circle? Well, then I could take 8 steps and wind back where I started. 8 would be 0. In fact, all of the infinite numbers on the real line would be stacked up in those 8 spots. And we're in a new world. And we're just playing here, right? But this is how new math gets invented. Mathematicians have actually been studying number circles for a long time. They've got a fancy name and everything, modular arithmetic. And not only does the math work out, it turns out to be ridiculously useful in fields like cryptography and computer science. It's actually no exaggeration to say that your credit card number is safe online because someone was willing to ask, what if it was a number circle instead of a number line? So, yes, we need to teach students that 2 + 2 = 4. But we also need to say yes to their ideas and their questions and model the courage we want them to have. It takes courage to say, what if 2 + 2 = 12, and actually explore the consequences. It takes courage to say, what if the angles in a triangle didn't add up to 180 degrees? Or what if there were a square root of -1? Or what if there were different sizes of infinity? But that courage and those questions led to some of the greatest breakthroughs in history. All it takes is a willingness to play. And that is principle 5. Mathematics is not about following rules. It's about playing and exploring and fighting and looking for clues and sometimes breaking things. Einstein called play the highest form of research. And a math teacher who lets their students play with math gives them the gift of ownership. Playing with math can feel like running through the woods when you were a kid. And even if you were on a path, it felt like it all belonged to you. Parents, if you want to know how to nurture the mathematical instincts of your children, play is the answer. What books are to reading, play is to mathematics. And a home filled with blocks and puzzles and games and play is a home where mathematical thinking can flourish. I believe we have the power to help mathematical thinking flourish everywhere. We can't afford to misuse math to create passive rule followers. Math has the potential to be our greatest asset in teaching the next generation to meet the future with courage, curiosity, and creativity. And if all students get a chance to experience the beauty and power of authentic mathematical thinking, maybe it won't sound so strange when they say, "Math? I actually love math." Thank you.
Hello once again. So this will be our last topic for our session for this day. So I will be discussing about interactive technological tools to engage students in mathematics learning. So we will learn different technological tools that we can use in our daily teaching in mathematics for us to be able to make our students be engaged in learning the subject. So again, I'm Sir Aaron Christopher G. FABIAN, our discussant for this day. So in this presentation, we will be able to know about, of course, the objectives, the struggles in using technology in teaching, and the presentation of the different technological tools in teaching mathematics to make our students more engaged. And also, we will be identifying the benefits of using interactive technological tools in mathematics. So are you ready? Alright. So for our objectives, we'll be able to orient the participants on the reasons why teachers struggle in using technology in the classroom. We will be able to know also to show the participants on the different interactive technological tools that can help the students to learn mathematics. And of course, present the different interactive tools like Kahoots, Plicker cards, and Bag of Tricks, and how to use them in classroom instruction. Especially now in the new normal, we can still use different technological tools in teaching because we have this online distance learning. So let's see on what will be these different technological tools that we can use. For our first activity, you need to answer on your own, what is interactive technological tool for you? And what is the meaning of it? And how does it help in making our students engaged in learning mathematics? Second one, what are your struggles in using technology in teaching mathematics? You can relate the different struggles during the traditional times when we have our face-to-face classes, and also today that we have these different learning modalities. So what are your struggles in using technology in teaching mathematics? So let's find out what are the some reasons that the teachers are struggling in using technology in teaching mathematics. So what are the 10 reasons why teachers struggle in using technology in the classroom? So let's find out these different reasons and let's talk about them. Number 1. Introduced technology is not always preferred, especially that most of our teachers, especially the master teachers and the old ones and the seasoned teachers, using technology is not always their preference. Kasi nga po, there are times na nakasanayan na nila na chalk, chalk and talk, okay? Using only the blackboard, using only the Manila paper. So, introducing technology in the classroom is not their best option in teaching our students. Okay? That's why they are having struggles in integrating technology in teaching mathematics. Second one, different device capabilities and instructions. Yes, that is also one of the reasons because there are Android phones, there are iOS phones, Mac OS, Windows phone, Windows tablet, Windows laptop. So they have these different capabilities and they have these different instructions on how to use them. And that's why it is also a reason on why teachers struggle in using technology in the classroom. Kasi po, nagkakaroon sila ng confusions on how to use them properly. Third one, it's easy for students to be distracted. Yes, it is also a disadvantage because most of the students, especially the primary or even the secondary, they have this short span of attention during discussion, especially if we are using technology. Because sometimes, mas tinitignan na lang nila yung technology, hindi na yung mismong lesson natin. So that's why we are still struggling on how to make our students more engaged and more focused in the application of the technology itself and not the use of it. Okay? So dapat po, mas ma-focus natin ang mga bata on the beauty of how to use the different technological tools to make them more engaged and make them more participative and be active in learning mathematics. Technology can affect lesson time flow. Yes, of course. Siyempre, i-set up mo pa yan. Titignan mo pa kung walang error. Kung magkakaroon ba ng technical errors, i-check mo pa lahat. And of course, making the different preparations, necessary preparations, it takes a lot of effort. Especially when you are still a novice in using the different technological tools in mathematics. Teachers need more professional development. Yes, that's true. That's why different school divisions are having the previous seminars when we have our face-to-face classes. We have different seminars that develop the professional skills of the teachers, especially in using technology. Because we are already in the modern times, that's why we need to make ourselves more adept in using technology as a guide and as a support in teaching our students to make them more active and more participative in mathematics. Next one. Not everyone has technology at home. That is true. Okay? Especially those students who are in the far-flung areas. Most of them doesn't have the technology that they can use for them to be able to understand more the lessons. And of course, even teachers. There are some teachers that do still doesn't have their own laptops, doesn't have their own printers, doesn't have their own softwares. Okay? So it is also a struggle to have this technology at home. Teachers need to protect students. Yes, why? Because misuse of these technologies can lead the students to different dangers. Okay? Specifically from using different sites, um, entering different censored websites or internet webs. Okay? So that's why it will be another burden for the teacher to use the different technological tools to make our students more engaged. But still, we need to make ourselves more adept. Okay? Kailangan po nating mas gamitin ngayon ang technology dahil mas kailangan talaga ngayon ng mga bata ang technology. Why? Because we are already in the modern times. We are already in the computer age. And it is a must for us teachers to use technology. So it is our own initiative to protect the mindsets of our students. Not all teachers believed in using technology. Yes, especially the seasoned teachers, because we all know that teachers is the best instructional materials, but still using technology would really help us. Okay, would really help us to make our lessons more engaging, more understandable, okay, for our students. Mas maiintindihan po kasi ng mga bata ngayon yung mga lessons natin kung gagamit tayo ng mga technological tools. Even though, yes, it's a struggle for us, okay, but we need to adjust ourselves for our students. That's why we need to be knowledgeable enough in integrating technology in the classroom. Lack of adequate ICT support and infrastructure. Yes. One of the main reasons that we cannot integrate technology well is the internet connection. Especially in our schools. There are some schools who do not have yet an internet connection. That's why they lack the adequate ICT support. And some schools doesn't have the DCP package, the computer package from DepEd, and of course, even laptops, printers, okay, or even broadbands. Medyo hirap po sila sa pagkuha ng mga ganong ICT support and infrastructure. Tensions between students and teachers. Yes. Why? Because sometimes, mas gusto ng mga bata na sila na lang gagamit ng technology. But we make sure that we guide our students on how to use them properly. Di po ba? Kasi minsan, they misuse the technology itself. Na nasisira na nila, syempre kapag nasira na nila, hindi na natin mapapakinabangan, hindi na natin magagamit. So we need to guide our students to use them properly. Alright? We need to guide them to use them properly. And these struggles that I mentioned to you should be our stepping stones in making the use of technology in the classroom a standard, okay, a norm, specifically this new normal. Because integrating technology is really a necessity now. Because we have these different learning modalities. Okay? Because it will make our students more engaged. So, how are we going to make these struggles as a benefit for us? So, let's find out. So, what can we do to overcome these struggles? So, on your own, okay, you reflect on how you can overcome these struggles. So, what are interactive technological tools? So, let's find out. Interactive classroom technology creates interactivity between an educator and their students. Okay? We will have interconnectedness between our students and ourselves. So, technology creates a link, okay, between the students and the teacher. So, siya po yung nagiging link natin to make our students more engaged in our learning process. Interactive classroom technology can be added to your classroom and encourage your students to be creative. Yes, because some of the applications, some of the softwares would really help our students to be more creative. Mas mapapakita po nila yung creativity nila in doing the different activities. Specifically in graphing, in drawing, in plotting the points. Okay? There are many different interactive technological tools that we can use to make our students more creative. Alright? Next. Interactive classroom technology may offer the tech solutions you need to wow your students during the learning process. Yes. Okay? Even the effects in your presentation can really wow your students. And using different interactive technological tools can really help uplift. Okay? It can uplift the quality of our instruction. So it can help our students to be engaged in learning the subject. So what are the 8 benefits in using interactive technological tools in the classroom? Okay, so we use these different benefits in using interactive technological tools in the classroom. So what are they? Of course, engagement. What is engagement? It will make the students who use technology in the classroom may be more engaged. When schools have a one-is-to-one initiative, especially if we have the resources, one device for every student, it will make our students be more engaged. Students benefit because technology can be more smoothly integrated into the curriculum. Many teachers use interactive software and programs as learning technologies so that students can respond to questions and lectures digitally. In addition, gamified learning makes education and fun and engaging as they earn badges and move through different competencies. Di po ba? There are these technological tools that we can make as a gamified lesson exemplar for teaching mathematics. Okay? Para hindi tayo dun sa laging discussion lang tayo ng discussion. We make our discussion more engaging by the use of these interactive technological tools. We make games, we make quizzes that can be in a form of a quiz bee, that we can be using the computer, the internet connection digitally. Okay? Next one. Collaboration. So collaboration, of course, will make the technology makes it easier for students to collaborate and save their work. Okay? So, nagkakaroon po ng collaboration between your students. Traditionally, when students collaborated, they may have created posters or notes or their work together. However, technology allows students to create digital collections of research and ideas. They can easily search in the Google Scholar, okay? They can also draw and write together in the same program, creating documents and projects that are fully collaborative. Di po ba? We can make use of PowerPoint presentation, Microsoft Word, Desmos, ayan, Pagatrix, okay, Kahoots. So later on, we will discuss what are those different interactive technological tools. Next one, we have inclusion. Technology allows some students to be included in the classroom in ways they have never been before. Many students who receive special education can benefit from technology that helps them write, spell, read, and do mathematical computation. Word processors can point out spelling mistakes to students. Adaptive readers highlight text or read aloud to students so they can research and use websites like their peers using technology. As technology becomes more prevalent in schools, students who receive special education and use a laptop for help will not stand out or seem out of place. Yan. Okay? Next po tayo. Of course, if we have inclusion, we have differentiation. Technology gives students access to a variety of programs. Yes, of course, that's true. We can use different programs and softwares for our students to make our students more engaged in learning mathematics. They can also have different resources at a simple click of a button. Teachers can find leveled readers or allow students to choose research topics that fit their interests. Yan, specifically sa mga senior high school students. This work can be done during centers or group work. Di po ba? They can have this messenger, they can have this group chat, okay? That would help us in making our students more engaged in our lessons. Okay? Another one, we have this productivity. Analog tools need to be tended to, cared for, and replaced. Using technology allows students to access what they need when they need it. They can keep calendars online, and teachers can push due date reminders in a learning management system. We have the LMS. Word processors do not need to be sharpened, and online books do not get lost. Technology allows students instant access to all the materials they need, saving time, space, and mental effort. Yan. Because of the different resources that they can have, they can be more productive in doing and making the different activities and assessments in our daily lesson. And of course, creativity. And they can make different videos, they can make different music applications, they can have different drawings, Photoshop, yan, po ba? So, there are different virtual softwares that you can use to make editing softwares. We have these different sketches, AutoCAD, okay, to make their ideas come to life. Ayan po, okay? It can help them to be more creative. And of course, automation. Yan. Automatic na lahat because of technology. A huge benefit of educational technology for teachers is automation. Siyempre, pwede po tayong mag-upload ng lessons natin in the Google Classroom, Google Meet, okay, Gmail, okay. Teachers are always looking for ways to find more time in the day, and technology can assist in big ways. Of course, because of the automation, pwede na tayong magpa-Google Sheet, Google Classroom, okay? Pwede na natin agad makuha yung result ng exams nila because of these different interactive technological tools. Of course, this future focus. Why? Because we do not yet know what type of jobs will be around when many of our students are adults joining the workforce. Yan. Kasi nga po, we prepare our students to be more globally competitive. And by using these different technological tools, they will become more adept in using them also. Mas matututo po sila na gumamit ng mga iba't ibang softwares, ng mga iba't ibang computers, ng mga iba't ibang gadgets. And of course, they will be prepared in the future because these technologies will be upgraded. So they will have ideas on how to use them properly. So we can help also our students not only to learn our lesson, but to use these materials, these tools in the future. Di po ba? Because we make our students be more globally competitive. And being globally competitive, it means that you are adept in using computers. And po, so those are the benefits in using interactive technological tools in the classroom. So what are these different interactive technological tools? So there are many interactive technological tools that we can use in our daily teaching. And we can have PowerPoint presentation, video clips, still images, GIFs, those moving images, Plicker cards, interactive whiteboard, Kahoots, Prezi, Edmodo, online forum, Google Forms, Google Sheet, computer simulation, and etc. Okay? So, napakarami po ngayon. Napakarami po na pwede natin gamitin. So, let's have Kahoot. Okay? So, we will be discussing Kahoots, Algebraitor or Bagatrix, and then we have Quizizz and Desmos. So I will just be giving you an overview of those different interactive technological tools, and then I will show you some videos on how to use them. Okay, so I downloaded some videos from YouTube on how to use them in our classroom discussion. So we have Kahoots. Okay, so what is Kahoots? Kahoot is a game-based learning and trivia platform used in a multitude of settings in the K-12 and university classrooms, corporate offices, social settings, and major sporting and cultural events. So this is the timeline of the creation of Kahoots. Okay? So Kahoots po is an interactive game-based learning that you can create your own quiz na pwede nating gawing parang quiz bee sa mga bata. Especially ngayon na meron tayong online distance learning, it can really help, okay, in making our lesson more engaging for our students. It can help to make our lesson more collaborative, okay? Saving time, of course, kasi madali lang gumawa ng mga quizzes eh, okay? So on the next videos that we will show you, okay, that I will show you, malalaman po natin kung paano gumawa ng Kahoots. Okay? Advanced game creation tool and advanced reporting because we can already see the results of the game that we have created. Yeah. Next, we have Plickers or Plicker cards. So these are cards. So meron din po tayong video dyan on how to generate the materials for Plicker cards. Okay? It is an assessment tool made by a teacher who was looking for a quick and simple way to check students' understanding. So Plicker cards uses computer, internet connection, the material or the QR code yun eh. Para siyang QR code na nare-read through cellphone kung sino po yung nakakuha ng tama at maling sagot. Okay? Provide students with the opportunity to participate and engage in learning without feeling self-conscious because using Plicker cards, iba-iba po kasi bawat estudyante yung magagamit nating tool sa kanila. So, hindi sila yung magkakaroon ng chance para mangopya, chance para malito or whatever. Okay? Next, we have bagatrix or the algebra to solve. So those are, bagatrix have different components. Merong algebra, may geometry, may algebra 1, merong statistics, merong calculus. Okay, so you can download it for free, I think, in the internet. Quizizz yan. So para din po siyang Kahoot. So later on from these next videos, malalaman po natin kung paano ang paggamit ng quizzes and Kahoots. Ayan. So always remember, okay, it's not always about the tech. Okay? Yes, we need to use these interactive technological tools. Okay? But still, we need to remember that these technologies are only our guide and only our assistant in making our students learn while we teach. Okay? It's not always about the tech. It is always about how you teach your students that make them engaged in mathematics learning. So I hope may mga natutunan po tayo dito sa series natin, sa ating session. And after this are the videos on how to use the different interactive technological tools that we have discussed. So again, thank you and may God bless us all.
Hello friends! So today I'm going to show you how to use Kahoot and Google Meet. I'm going to show you teacher and student perspective, and I'm also going to show you how to split your screen using the desktop and also an iPad. So let's get started. The first thing you want to do is create an account with Kahoot. It is a great website. Kids love it and they are also learning. They have plenty of categories such as history, science, math, you name it, they have it. So I'm going to click on login. And I'm going to go ahead and click on Kahoot. So if you're looking for a particular game, you could create your own game first off, or you could just choose from the categories that they have. You could go ahead and type in history if you like, and this is where you would type in. But I'm going to go to favorites, and I'm going to access one of my favorite games. And here it is, the first one, movies. I'm going to click on play. I'm going to click on teach. I'm going to click on classic because I want each of my students to answer the question individually. So the music is going to come on. I'm going to click here to mute the music. Now what I want to do is I want to split my screen, because not only do I want to see who joins the game, I also want to see who's in the meet. So I'm going to minimize this. I'm going to drag the meet browser over to my right, and I'm going to leave the Kahoot on my left. So this is the teacher's perspective. Now I'm going to show you what it looks like on the student perspective. But before I show you what it looks like on the student perspective, I want to present my entire screen to the students so that they'll be able to view the question and also answer. And I'll show you what I'm talking about right in a few minutes. So now we are in the student's perspective, and there's two things you want your students to do. You want them to log into Kahoot, and you also want them to accept your Meet invitation. So let's start off with the Meet invitation. I'm going to click on my Gmail since my teacher sent out an invite via email. I'm going to click up here and I'm going to meeting. I'm going to For the sake of this video, I'm going to mute my speaker and also my video. I'm going to join. Great. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on Chrome and I am going to type in the words Kahoot, pin, login. So students don't need to create an account in order to participate. I'm going to click on the first tab and I'm going to enter the PIN number that the teacher provided so I could access the game. Enter. Students have a choice to use their own name or a nickname. I prefer my students to use their name in case I want to award any incentive. I know who to give the incentive to. Okay. I'm in. All right. How do I split my image? I'm going to show you right now. I'm going to go to the bottom of the iPad. So I'm a student using an iPad. And I'm going to slide my finger up. I'm going to click on Meet. Since I'm already on Chrome with Kahoot, I'm going to click on Meet and I'm going to drag. I have to be very gentle. I'm going to drag the icon to the side. And there you have it. My image is split. Now I'm going to turn my iPad landscape. Now I'm in the teacher's perspective. And so here we have the teacher's meet, the student, and myself. I'm presenting. So I will appear two times. And then here, if I wanted to, using the grid extension, I'll be able to see all my students. But that's another video. So this is the game. I'm going to go and start the game. I can see there's one player, and that should be me as a student. So what's the name of the movie? The student answered. You could see that the student answered correctly. There's only one student, so it will stop quickly, but the game will not stop until all the students have answered the question. So then I click on next. It tells me here that G got the answer correct, so she has 910 points. Let's do one more question. What's the name of the movie? I'm going to go ahead and click as a student. The student got it correct. Move on. G got it correct. Okay, great. Now I'm going to show you what the student is viewing. The student's perspective. So my iPad right now is landscape, and the student can view Kahoot on the left and read the question using Google Meet on the right. So I'm going to go and click on the next question so that you can see what the student is viewing. What's the name of the movie? So there goes the image. I'm going to go and my answer was incorrect. So it will show me that the student didn't receive any points in the teacher's view, and you can see it up here. One last question. What is the name of this movie? I received 783 points. Click on next. and the points have been added. And there you have it. This is the end of this video. I hope everyone enjoy, and I hope this was useful.
Hello there and welcome back to my channel. My name is Michelle Ferre and I'm a 4th grade teacher in Maryland. I am also my school's e-coach, which means I help teachers in my school integrate educational technology in their classrooms. For today's video, I wanted to walk you through how to use Plickers, which is a great way to gather formative assessment data for your students. Your students don't need any individual devices, but yet they will be super engaged. Let's start with the basics. To access the Plickers website, you can just type plickers.com into your browser, or you can use the link down in the description box. There is a free version, which is what I use, as well as a paid version, which costs $8.99 a month, and it allows you to share your content, add images, and a few other things. On Plickers, you are able to create your own multiple choice questions for your students to answer. You will display the question for the entire class, and your students will each have a unique QR code looking card that they will turn depending on their answer choice. Each side of the card is labeled with A, B, C, or D, and students will hold their card so that the letter they are selecting is at the top. You will use your phone or another device with a camera, such as a tablet, to scan the room. Your device will instantly register each student's answer choice, and you will be able to see who answered correctly and who answered incorrectly. You can then download a spreadsheet with all of the data to access after the lesson. That is the overview of how it works. So now let's talk about some of the specifics. We will start with the materials you need. First of all, you need a device to display the question for students to answer, such as a computer with a projector. For example, I usually access Plickers website on my desktop computer in my classroom and then project it onto the board for my students to be able to see. Next, you will need a device with a camera to scan student cards, such as a phone or a tablet. For example, I always use the Plickers app on my personal cell phone to scan the room. You will need to download the Plickers app onto this device and log in with the same account in order to use it to scan student cards. Finally, your students each need a Plickers card. You can download or print the Plickers cards for free from the Plickers website by clicking on Help and then clicking on Get Plickers Cards. You can choose between multiple formats based on the needs of your students. It is best to print the cards on cardstock so they are thicker and hold up throughout the year, since students will use the same card each time you use Plickers. Normally, I would suggest to laminate the cards because I suggest laminating almost everything. But with Plickers, you actually don't want to laminate the cards because you don't want them to be shiny. That tends to result in a glare, and it makes it difficult for your camera to scan them. Now, if you have matte lamination, you could absolutely use that. Otherwise, you can have students glue the card on the inside cover of a notebook so they always have access to it and it lasts throughout the year. Another option is actually to purchase a set of ready-made Plickers cards on Amazon. The cards have a matte lamination and are super durable, so you can reuse them year after year. I will link them down in the description box if you are interested in purchasing them. Next, let's go over how to create questions and use Plickers with your students. After you create an account, you will need to create your class by clicking on New Class on the left side of the screen. You will give your class a name, and you can create multiple classes if you teach different groups of students. Then you will add your students to the class by clicking on Add Students. It will automatically assign each student a number based on the order you entered student names, and this number corresponds to the specific Plickers card assigned to that student. For example, if student A is number 1, then they will receive Plickers card labeled 1. If you need to customize the numbers or edit your class, you can click on the class on the left side and then click on Edit Students. You can then click on a student and edit their card number, edit their name, archive the student, or delete the student. Now you are ready to start creating questions. Click on your library on the left side and then click on New Set. You can name your set at the top and type in your questions and answers. You can choose between graded questions and survey questions based on how you are using Plickers with your students. You also have the option to import questions by copying and pasting them from another source. But you may have to make a few adjustments based on the formatting. After you are done adding questions, you can click on the Home button to return to your library. You can add the question set to the queue for one or more of your classes by clicking the arrow on the right side of the question set and then clicking Add to Queue. You can then select the class or classes you want to add the question set to. Now, there are a few different ways to actually start using Plickers with your class, but I'm going to show you the easiest way for me personally. When you are ready to start using the question set with your students, click on Now Playing at the top. This should be on the device that will display the questions for your students, such as the desktop computer and a projector. Then you will want to run the Plickers app on your other device, such as your phone or tablet. Select the class and you will see the question set you queued. If you didn't queue the questions, you can still access your questions by clicking Add from Library. You will click on the first question and it will appear on the main screen for students to see. Students will read the question and decide on their answer. Once they are ready to display their answer, they will hold their Plickers card so that the letter they are choosing is at the top. They want to make sure they aren't covering any of the code with their fingers and aren't blocking the codes of anyone else around them. On your device, you will click the blue circle at the bottom and allow the app to access your camera. Then you will hold your device so it is able to see the cards in the frame. As the device scans the cards, the student name will pop up with a red circle if they answered it incorrectly or a green circle if they answered it correctly. Once their name has appeared once, they can put their card down because it has already been scanned. You will see a count at the top of your screen with the number of cards that have been scanned. Students will also see their name change color on the main screen so that they know their card has been scanned. Once you are done, you can click the red stop button at the bottom. You can show the class a graph of how many students chose each answer and can show them the correct answer, or you can choose just to show them the correct answer by using the buttons above the student's name on the main screen or on the other device you're using. When you are ready to move on to the next question, click the forward arrow at the bottom. After you have finished the Plicker session with your students, you can review the class results by clicking on Reports on the left side, and you can review individual student results by clicking on Score Sheet on the left side. That wraps up the basic tutorial for Plickers, which you can use as an exit ticket, check for understanding, or other forms of formative data. If this tutorial was helpful for you, please give the video a thumbs up and share it out with your teacher friends. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. As always, thank you for watching. I love you so much. Don't forget to put your positive pants on, and I will catch you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end of this video and for supporting my YouTube channel. If you want to check out any of my older videos, you can use the 2 links right down here. If you want to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any future videos, you can use the link right up here. The links to all of my social media sites, my Teachers Pay Teacher store, my merchandise store, and my Amazon store are in the description box, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.
Hello guys, again this is Teacher Bong Fontanilla saying, smile is a curved line that sets everything straight. So again, nandito naman po tayo sa ating channel, Bong Fontanilla, and of course, this time medyo kakaiba yung bibigay ko sa inyo because I will be introducing you a very useful and important math apps which I believe it can help in our modular learning, especially if we try to solve polynomial functions, quadratic functions and equations, linear functions and equations, and of course our trigonometric functions. So if you are using Android phones or smartphones, so meron kayong cellphone dyan, so you can readily download math apps that can help you solve problems in your modular learning, especially in our subject mathematics. So this math app that I will be introducing you is what we call Algebraitor. So Algebraitor is a mathematical application that will present solutions on problems on polynomials, quadratic equations or functions, trigonometric functions, and trigonometric equations, linear functions and linear equations, and some other problems in mathematics. Okay, so please stay tuned because we will try to explore this, what we call Algebraitor, one of the mathematical applications that we can use in our studies. Okay guys, bale nandito na tayo, naka-screen recorder po tayo. So I'm now using my smartphone, and of course I will be introducing you yung sinasabi kong Algebraitor. So hanapin natin. So ayan po siya. Sa may taas, dito sa may gitna, kasama ng InShot, polynomial. So meron tayong Algebraitor doon. So kung hindi nyo pa ito na-download, punta lang kayo sa inyong Play Store or App Store. Tapos i-type yung Algebraitor, then pwede na ninyong i-download for free. So let us try to explore this app. Okay, so yan yung app natin. Wait, meron pa lang naka-save dito. Okay, so just to be familiar with the different functions and characters, so sa baba meron tayong mga numbers 1 to 9, then we have your 0, tapos meron tayong next line dito, then meron tayong decimal point, then mga different inequalities, meron tayong less than, greater than, meron tayong less than or equal to, meron tayong greater than or equal to, tapos ito, yan, this one, ito, x, tapos dun sa taas niya meron tayong maliit na square dun. So ito yung gagamitin natin sa pag-i-input o pag-i-encode ng ating mga exponent. So if you are familiar with your keyboards o keyboard ng ating mga computers, so ito yung sinasabi nating superscript. Meron tayong superscript, meron tayong subscript. Then meron din tayong para sa ating radical expressions. Ito. Ayan. Square root of 2. Ayan. Then, meron tayong backward. Ito. Arrow to the left. Tapos, meron tayong arrow to the right. Ayan. Tapos, meron tayong f of x dito. Yung mga different functions. Ayan. Lalabas yung sine, cosine, tangent, logarithm. Then, yung ating natural logarithm. Then, yung mga different constants, meron tayong constant e, meron tayong I, yung I is square root of negative 1. Yung e natin, approximately, it is equal to 2.71, I think. And of course, yung ating pi, 3.1416. Tapos, yung ating close and open parenthesis. Okay? Then, yung mga different alphabets natin or letters. Ayan. Okay. So, pwede na tayong magsimula na. So, paano ito ginagamit o saan ito ginagamit? Actually, yung Algebraitor, meron siyang wide use in problem solving in mathematics. So, pwede siyang gamitin sa pagsusolve ng linear functions and equations, pagsosolve ng quadratic equations and functions, pagsosolve ng polynomial equations and functions, pagsosolve ng trigonometric functions and equations. Pwede rin po siya sa operations on algebraic expressions, pwede rin po siya sa operations on rational expressions o dun sa pag-a-add, pag-subtract, pag-multiply, at pag-divide natin sa ating mga fractions. So, pwede ito. Na? Okay. So, halimbawa, punta tayo sa ating mga quadratic trinomial. Di ba sa ating quadratic equations na usually dinidiscuss yan yung kanyang mga linear factors o factor your quadratic equation blah 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 or so and so, mga ganon. Then basing from the factors, you have to find or give the zeros or roots. So pwede natin itong gamitin. So halimbawa, find the linear factors and give the zeros of x squared minus x minus 6. So, i-encode natin x squared. Pindutin natin itong x na may square sa taas. Ato. Tapos, yung 2 na exponent. Tapos, yung arrow to the right. X squared minus x. So, yung minus, then x. Minus 6. So, minus 6. So, meron tayong x squared minus x minus 6. Let us say, hahanapin natin yung kanyang linear factors at saka yung kanyang zeros. So, ipindot lang, iselect lang natin yung solve dito sa may baba. Ayun, yung kulay green. Yan. Okay, so makikita nyo, meron na tayong solutions dyan. Tapos yung answer. Yung answer niya is x minus 3 times x plus 2. Itong x minus 3 and x plus 2, ito yung linear factors niya. Ngayon, kung hahanapin mo yung zeros o ibibigay mo yung zeros, so pwede mo nang kunin dito. So that is x minus 3, equate mo lang siya ng 0, x minus 3 equals 0, ang x mo magiging 3. So 3 will be one of the zeros. Tapos punta ka dun sa other factor, x plus 2. So equate it with 0, x plus 2 equals 0. Solve for x, x will become or will be equal to negative 2. So ano yung zeros niya? The zeros of x squared minus x minus 6 are 3 and negative 2. Yun. So ganun lang kadali. Ikikiin mo lang siya, i-encode mo o i-input mo yung inyong polynomial, tapos pindutin yung solve, then i-represent niya yung solution, ibibigay na niya yung answer. Okay. Kuha pa tayo ng iba. Let us say you are given negative 3x squared. So, pindutin natin yan. X squared. X muna. So, x. Then, pindot yung x raised to my square doon. Okay. Yung ating exponent na 2. Tapos, arrow to the right. Negative 3x squared plus 18x. So, 18x minus 15. So, yan yung polynomial natin. Hanapin natin ngayon yung linear factors niya at saka yung kanyang zeros. So, let us see. Solve. Ayun. So, meron tayong negative 3 times x minus 5 times x minus 1. So, from these factors, you can solve for the zeros or roots. So, kung isosolve natin yung zeros niya, dun sa last, pwede nang ang zeros dyan is 1. Tapos dito, sa negative 3 times x minus 5, i-multiply lang natin yung negative 3 to x at saka negative 5. So, negative 3x plus 15, tapos isolve natin yung x. So, negative 3x plus 15, so that is negative 3x equals negative 15. Negative 3x equals negative 15, magiging 5. So, yun yung magiging zeros niya. Or kahit hindi na natin yan, so ang zeros natin dyan is 5 at saka 1. Kasi yung negative 3 equate with 0, yan, 0 din yan. Walang variable. Okay? So, yun. Next, kuha naman po tayo ng polynomial. Ang kanyang degree ay 3. So, we have x raised to 3 minus 2x x raised to 2 arrow to the right minus 4x plus 8. So you're given x cubed minus 2x squared minus 4x plus 8. Pindutin yung solve. There. Okay. So what are the linear factors? The linear factors are x minus 2 quantity squared and x plus 2. So itong x minus 2 quantity squared, so magiging x minus 2 times x minus 2. So from that, ang magiging roots niya, so dalawang 2, so that is 2 and 2, tapos isang negative 2. Okay? Next, kuha naman tayo yung 4th degree. Let us say x raised to 4 minus 2x square arrow to the right plus 1. Solve. So magiging ang kanya, so yan na yung solution, tapos yung answer. X minus 2 quantity square at saka x plus 2 quantity square. These are the linear factors. Then from these linear factors, we can get the roots or zeros. So magiging roots niya ay dalawang 1 at saka dalawang negative 1. Okay. So halimbawa naman sa ating trigonometry, halimbawa, you are going to evaluate sine 30 degrees, sine 15 degrees, cosine 25 degrees, sine 15 degrees. So, pwede rin natin gamitin ito, na? So, pindutin lang itong f of x. Makikita nyo na yung sine, cosine, tangent dyan. Okay? So, let us say sine 15 degrees. So, sine, pindutin yung 15. Ayan, solve. So, yun. So, sine 15 degrees is equal to 0.2588190. 5. Okay? Ayan. So, halimbawa, sine 30 degrees. Okay, sine 30 degrees is equal to 0.5 or simply 1/2. Let us say cosine 45. Ayan. Cosine 45 degrees is equal to square root of 2 over 2. Pwede rin po tayo dito sa operations, na? So, halimbawa, sine 90 degrees plus cosine 30 degrees. So, that is sine 90 degrees, tapos arrow to the right plus cosine 30 degrees. 30 degrees. Ayan. Sine 90 degrees plus cosine 30 degrees. Pindutin yung solve. Ayan. Sine 90 is simply 1. Then cosine 30 is square root of 3 over 2. So 1 plus square root of 3 over 2 magiging square root of 3 plus 2 all over 2. Okay. Pwede rin yung multiplication. Ito yung gagawin natin. I-try natin. Ito. Tapos, sine 30 degrees. Then, this one. Cosine 90 degrees. There. So, let us see. Ayun. So, sine 30 degrees is 1/2 and cosine 90 degrees is 0. 1/2 times 0 will be equal to 0. Okay? So, that's how we use. These are only some of the applications of our Math App Algebraitor na pwede nating gamitin para at least makatulong sa ating pagsosolve sa mga iba't ibang problems sa ating mga modules, sa ating mga mathematics. Yeah? So, I just hope this would help, makatulong nang sa ganun, hindi kayo masyadong mahirapan sa pagsosolve sa inyong mga problems dyan, sa inyong mga modules. So, yun lang for today. Keep safe. And of course, God bless. I heart you all.
Hi peeps! Welcome back to my Strong Techie YouTube channel. For today's video, I will teach you how to create a quiz using Quizizz. So without further ado, let's get started. Punta lang po tayo sa ating any browser and let us type quizizz.com. And we will be redirected to its website. Ang Quizizz ay isang digital app that allows you to pick or create your own quiz. So we have here 3 tabs. Join a game, log in, if you have an existing account na, and then sign up. So let us click sign up. You can sign up using your Google account. So sign up lang po tayo. Gamitin po natin kung ano yung ating account. And then, meron po tayong 3 options dito, at a school, at a business, personal use. So, piliin po natin as a teacher at a school. And then, you are a, piliin natin, teacher. And then, as you can see, naandito na po ang inyong profile. Ayan. Then, we have here create. If we are going to create a quiz, we have there the library, reports, classes, collections, memes, settings, and then log out, refer a friend. And then, if we have questions, click lang natin tong help. If we are going to pick a quiz, search lang natin dito kung ano yung ating topic. For example, respiratory system. And then, pwede na tayong mamili dyan. Sa mga yan, kung alin yung mga quiz na ating gagamitin. For example, gamitin natin ito. You can view that, and then pwede din natin ma-view yung mga questions. Kung gusto natin siyang ma-practice, click lang natin yung practice and play. Makikita na natin kung paano at ano yung laman ng quiz. Ayan. If we are going to create our own quiz, click natin itong button na to, click create. And then, lagay natin ano yung pangalan ng quiz natin. For example, quiz number 1. Then, let us choose kung anong subject yung inyong gagawin. Let us choose science. Then, click next. Ayan. So, we have 2 options. You have to create your own question, or pwede tayong kumuha ng question mula sa Quizizz library. So, let us write our own question. And then, meron tayong mga options dito. Multiple choice, checkbox, fill in the blanks, poll, open-ended. Pwede po tayong mamili dyan kung anong klaseng type ng question ang gagawin natin sa ating quiz. So, let us try multiple choice. Lagay natin dito yung ating question. After we type our question, lagay na po natin yung ating mga options. Pwede din po tayo maglagay ng image, or kung mathematics po ito, you can add an equation. Same thing sa question, pwede po tayo maglagay ng image or ng audio. So, lagay na po tayo ng choices. Kapag nalagay na po natin yung ating mga options, yung ating mga choices, do not forget to check kung ano yung correct answer. Yeah. And then, click save. On this part, dito naman po yung allotted time ng estudyante to answer the question. Pwede po natin yang mabago, mapili po natin kung gaano katagal. So, ayan na po yung ating question number 1. And then, dito naman po sa parte na to, add quiz image. Pwede po tayong mamili kung anong cover photo ng ating quiz. For example, upload a picture mula sa ating computer. Ayan. And then, dito naman po kung anong grade level. Grade 9. Next, who can see this quiz? Siyempre po, para magamit ng ating mga estudyante, public, visible to everyone. Then click save. Next, let us add up another question. Click lang po natin, new question. Let us try naman po, checkbox. Then, let us type our question here. Same thing lang po katulad sa multiple choice. You can add an image or audio. Same with our choices. So, let's type our question. Then, let us try to change the time allotment. Let us say 20 seconds and then click save. Yan. So, kapag nakalimutan po natin lagay yung tamang sagot, hindi po natin siya masasave. Magkakaroon ng notice na kailangan i-click natin yung tamang sagot. And then, we have 2 questions. Let us add another one. Fill in the blanks. Let us just type our question and then type the answer. We can also add an alternative answer. So, don't worry dahil dito po sa Quizizz, hindi po siya case sensitive kung capital letter or small letter. And then, ito po ulit yung ating time allotment. Click save. So there you have it. We already have our free questions. Next, we have poll. Polls are ungraded po. Ginagamit natin ito for them to vote. Next, open-ended question. This is also ungraded. However, try po natin to. Let us say, for example, this is a question. Click lang po natin yung save. Ayan. So, pwede pa po kayo magdagdag. Tapusin lamang po natin itong quiz para makita po natin ang itsura. For example, meron po tayong gustong i-rearrange na mga questions. Meron po tayong gustong unahin. Gusto po natin pagpalitin itong question 4 and question 5. Click lamang po natin small box here to reorder the questions. And then, drag po natin yung mga questions na gusto natin palitan. And then, click lang po natin itong green na to na done. Next, this teleport. Pwede po tayong kumuha ng questions mula sa mga quizzes na meron na dito sa Quizizz. So, pwede po kayong mamili dyan and pwede po kayong mamili ng mga questions. That is for teleport. Kapag tapos na po tayo sa ating quiz, nagawa na po natin lahat at kumpleto na din po itong mga details na to, nagawa na po natin yan, click lang po natin tong white button na done. And as you can see, ito na po yung ating quiz. So, kung gusto po natin malaman at makita kung anong itsura ng ating quiz, let us try this practice and click play. And then, click natin po, play quiz. So, makikita po natin yung itsura ng ating quiz. Yeah. So, kapag naman po synchronous ang ating learning at kailangan po natin gamitin itong quiz na to, we can click display live. We have here the free game mode options, team, classic, and test. Next, kung gagamitin naman po natin to asynchronous, assign homework, and then makikita po natin dyan, makakapili po tayo anong araw at anong oras, gaano katagal po ito magiging available. Here, assign to class, pwede na din po natin ito i-direct sa ating Google Classroom. Click lang po natin yan at piliin kung saan pong classroom natin ito pwedeng ilagay. Next, advanced settings. Pag kinlik po natin yan, makakita po tayo dito ng mga ilang settings na importante sa ating game. Dito po, student attempts, show answers in game, show answers post-game. Yan po yung ating mga settings. Gameplay settings, the timer, power-ups, shuffle questions kung gusto po natin or kung ayaw po natin, shuffle answer options, ganun din po, and so on. Then, click po natin yung continue. As you can see, andito na po yung ating link. Share po natin yung link. Pwede na pong direct yan sa ating Google Classroom or i-copy na po natin tong link na to sa kanilang po natin i-attach sa ating Google Classroom. So, let us try po kung ano magiging itsura. Copy lang po natin yung ating link. And then, ayan na po yung itsura. Lalagay lang po natin pangalan. Halimbawa po, start game. So, ayan na po. Mag-start na po yung game. Pwede na po niya i-click at maglaro ang estudyante. As easy as that. So, kung gusto po natin i-edit itong ating quiz, click lang po natin tong pencil icon na naandito to edit questions or edit answers. Para naman po makita po natin ang outputs at ang mga scores ng ating mga estudyante, click po natin tong reports at makikita na po natin yan dito. So, that is all po for creating a quiz using Quizizz. I hope you learned something new from today. If you have questions, comment down below. And if you like this video, click like, share, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for watching!